Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. We have switched from yellow conditions as far as yellow flag or caution to red flag conditions. And that being the reason, we're going to help out the drivers a little bit, or NASCAR will.
Yeah, Wayne Auten, the series director, told us that by virtue of last week at Loudon, the Busch race Saturday I was watching, Jamie McMurray after the race said he really got overheated. They had a red flag with about 12 laps to go. So NASCAR said, we've decided that we will give these drivers, if we have a red flag and when it's very, very hot, until the end of August, at least right now, that we will give the drivers something to drink. If they stopped in the front stretch, then they would allow their crews to come out and give their drivers something to drink. But they stopped in the backstretch, so NASCAR and the safety workers are giving every driver something to drink if they want something. Just another safety issue that NASCAR is addressing.
Yeah, Daytona this year in the Busch race at night, they had a red flag, and there was actually one driver that had to be taken out of his car during the red flag. He just got so heat-soaked.
And so the drivers have been given that either bottle of water or other supplemental drink that they've been looking for. Well, the Toyota Spotlight lets us take a closer look at where tonight's field of Toyota Tundras are currently running. Brandon Witt with a very impressive performance tonight, started on the pole, currently in second.
Yeah, David Ruderman, also a great run, led a lot of this race. He's in the third position. Then those are the only two Toyotas right now in the top 10, but you've got several in the top 15 with Ty Bodine, Chad Chaffin, Johnny Benson, and Mike Skinner. But we know Mike Skinner's going to have to make a pit stop because he does have some damage and a flat right front tire.
A lot of damage, as you can see some of these trucks taking on as we get back to the roots of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, short track racing. This 3/4 mile track in Memphis, tough one to try to tame.
Looks like they're going to pull the 5 truck of Mike Skinner behind the wall. They're not allowed to work on these trucks on a red flag situation, so the fact that they're moving it behind the wall means this may be terminal for Mike Skinner. If not, then they will certainly have a lot of work to do to the truck, but they're not able to do the work on it until the red flag is put away and the yellow flag comes back out.
Disappointing night for Mike Skinner. Looking for that somewhat breakthrough performance. He's run so well during the year and has never been able to find victory lane at the end of races. He's been in contention to win, but just hasn't been able to finish it off. And as we looked at moment 12 earlier in the show, Mike Skinner was just sliding across the start-finish line sideways just behind the 4 of Bobby Hamilton in that race in Atlanta a year ago, still struggling to get that first win since he's come back.
See David Ruderman trying his best to cool off. You see him unzipping his uniform. One of the safety workers gave him a bag of ice, and he's going to try to shove that in his uniform. He had wet towels that he put on his neck. They're doing everything they can do. You see Dennis Setzer, he's a pretty cool customer. He's actually taken his helmet off, raised it up on top of his head to try to get a little bit more air. Because right now, there's obviously no air stirring around on these trucks, Boris.
Yeah, this is the worst time to be in one of these trucks. When you're moving, it's not so bad because you got some airflow. But when you're stopped, I mean, these trucks are 130, 40 degrees, and they're just heat-soaked, and it feels like you're sitting in a toaster oven. And stuff like this leads to mistakes. Maybe that's something what happened, in the last restart when David Ruderman missed a gear. You're just so hot, and you don't have your concentration.
You see one of the cooling pipes right there that are going to the chest of David Ruderman.
There's David Starr right there to Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet. There's David Ruderman. Let's see if we can talk to David. We should have some radio contact. David Ruderman, Phil Parsons, can you hear me? David, looks like you're trying to cool yourself off there. I know you've had a great truck all night. You're in the third position, but we were just talking a few minutes ago. When you stop these trucks, no air circulating. It's got to be pretty hot in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right. It's just you get an opportunity to cool down. But you're right. You know what I'm going through here, Phil. You've been in this field several times yourself. It's hot, but I mean, that's what I signed up for.
What happened on that last restart, David?
It hung between second and third there. I don't know exactly. Hadn't had any problems with it all night, but couldn't get it to go to third. Just had to snatch back to fourth. But I can't say enough for these NTN Bearing team. They're Walter Motorsports Station over 3 to give me a great truck here. See if we need a little bit of green here to see if we can get back by these guys.
That 6 truck of Ron Hornaday looked pretty strong. Do you feel like you had something for him?
Well, I don't know. He's pretty good, but I feel like if we can get some green, we can get our our tires built up and stuff. I'm having to wait on it some now, and it is hurting us pretty bad. But he is pretty quick, so I don't know. It's going to be tough. We just good little one. I'm blessed to be where I'm at right now, and see if we keep moving forward.
All right, buddy. Finish this thing off and get a good finish.
Thanks.
There's that replay we were talking about. You heard David say it hung between second and third gear. There's second gear right now. He takes off, and then when he tries to go to third gear, the transmission hangs. It allows Brandon Witt to get to the inside and take over the second position. Let's listen to Brandon Witt, see what he went through right here. David Ruderman, I'm sorry. You heard him rev probably about 9,500 RPMs, and the thing would not come out of second gear.
Well, it looked like it came out. He just didn't get into third, and he decided, all right, I'll go to fourth. And he didn't have the revs up, and the motor was pretty bogged down. That's why those guys went by him. That's a pretty common mistake.
Wendy standing by with Jason Overstreet.
Jason and I are sitting on top of the pit box. Jason, knowing the heat index, as he talks to Bobby Kennedy, knowing the heat index was 115 here in Memphis, how did you prepare David's truck any differently for tonight's hot race?
We just gave him a couple extra hoses and blowers, to a seat and to him, and make sure he's got a couple extra drink bottles in there with him.
Now, I heard David complaining that the truck wasn't rolling through the center how he wanted it to after that pit stop. Were the changes, did they not take exactly to the truck how you wanted?
We just went a little too aggressive on the changes there. We weren't that bad. We went a little too aggressive going for it, but they're starting to come in, and if we just get a green flag run, we're going to be okay.
What did you tell your driver when he missed that shift? How do you get him back to focus? We know DW's famous words, don't beat yourself up.
No, I just told him just to shake it off and go on, and it was bad stop, it happens, move on.
Okay, we're going to check in with our leaders, crew chief, Wally Rogers.
Well, Wendy, over all the years that I've been doing this, I really, truthfully, can't remember another day it's been any hotter than this. And, Wally, what's your driver saying out there? We've been hearing from a lot of guys that are really miserable in those race trucks.
He's not as miserable as he would be if he was running second right now, but he is pretty hot. We've been giving him bags of ice and feeding him Pedialyte pretty much all day, so just trying to keep him hydrated. It's a good thing they brought him some more water out there, because this is stopping on the red right now. It's just killing them guys in there.
Tell me about your strategy tonight. Has things worked out the way you expected for in your pre-race plan?
Well, to be honest, I don't really have much of a pre-race. Kind of got to pretty much wing it. And I wanted to come in that first stop and make a little adjustment and get our stuff right, just to see if I was going to go the right way, and I guess I made the right call.
So far, it looks pretty good. These guys up front, and as I told you guys earlier, this team is very well aware of the number of races it's gotten away from them this year. And I'll tell you what, I think right now, if I was going to go down to Sam's Town and do some betting, I think I'd put my money on Hornaday.
So Hornaday quite possibly could take over and win this race, but he's running short on laps. He could make it up to be the lap leader. So far, Ruderman has led the most laps. Brandon Witt's led 53, just 5 short of Ruderman. And now Hornaday out in front continues to tack on to that 40 that he's already posted. We'll see if he can put the most laps led on the board tonight.
Rick, let's see if we can talk to Bobby Hamilton, our defending champion and defending winner of this race. Hey, Bobby, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
I got you, Bill.
Bobby, you're being shown right now in the 8th position. You have anything for these guys to move up?
I don't think so. I'm just doing good to hold on. I'm fighting the tight condition, and just need a good night for the Bailey's folks. Looking big picture here, so just need to see what we can get.
Bobby, obviously it's been really hot today and pretty hot tonight. How are you making it as far as the heat goes?
I ain't too bad. NASCAR has sent us some water out here, but I was pouring it down my left shoe because I'm burning my foot again. We never had that problem before, but we're having it now. So, but just reminds me of a 200-lapper at the old Nashville Fairgrounds. So, the place reminds me a lot of that. Actually, the way the grip goes away and stuff. So, we're just sitting out here seeing what we do. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good now. It's not as cool up here as it could be. It's about 85 degrees up here in the booth, so it's not like we're really in cool weather. But we were talking earlier that once you start burning your foot or something like that, there's nothing really you can do about it because it has to be where it's going to be. So you just have to live with it and take care of the blisters later, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be on the brake pedal if you're a two-footed driver. I can do both, but I can't stop right now and learn my rhythm. I take time in Martinsville when I'm there to do it there and a few other places. But I don't know, not a bad day for having to go to the rear a couple times for overheating and stuff. So we're pretty happy with the trouble until we get here.
All right, Bobby, we appreciate it. Got about 35 laps to go. See if you can move that thing up a few more positions.
And Ray
All right,
mentioned.
pal. You guys stay cool in 85.
Thank you.
To go with the line.
Thank you. Ray had mentioned this might be one of the hottest races he's ever experienced in his broadcasting days, and we want to say thank you and a great job to all the crew from Speed Channel that have been working here diligently, not only all day, but they'll be working to tear down all their equipment this evening as this race concludes, and we will move on to IRP. So we want to thank all of the men and women working for Speed Channel tonight. They've done an excellent job. Ron Hornaday would love to close out this race out in front. A young man named Brandon Witt would like to put his truck out in front and get to victory lane, and all because he's had to suffer through a little bit of a heat condition today.
He sure has. And, we talked a few moments ago that he got his best career finish a couple of weeks ago in Kentucky. That was his first career top 10 finish in the Truck Series, and here he is running second with about 35 laps to go. But I'm not thinking that he's happy right now running second. He's so close to the lead. He can taste it. He wants to get by Ron Hornaday. Chad Cheffet's got some trouble here. Looks like he may have an engine problem or maybe overheated while that thing was under red flag. But he's got a lot of damage. I think he ran into something here trying to get in line for the restart.
And so as Chad Chaffin makes his way down pit road, the green flag flies and we're back underway.
We saw David Ruderman try to protect the inside because he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to get his truck from the 2-3 shift. He looked like he was able to. He didn't lose but a truck length or two to the second place truck of Brandon Witt.
Dennis Setzer in 5th. Brendan Gaughan just behind him in 6th. David Starr is 7th. Bobby Hamilton 8th. Matt Kraft in 9th. And Jack Sprague in 10th.
Well, John Andretti sure is doing a good job. He's just been lurking back there in 4th. And to come in this series without really driving much is pretty amazing. He can run right up the front with all these good guys.
Looked like Ron Hornaday had a handful of steering wheel down there in that corner that allowed Brandon Witt to pull right up on his tailgate.
Brandon Witt looking for that first career win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He switched manufacturers this year. Started driving the Toyotas in 2005, and it has definitely worked out for him.
Sure has. He's been very, very fast in a number of races this year. Wasn't quite able to put the fast runs together with good finishes until the last time out of Kentucky with a great 6th place run, but he's got a terrific run going here.
On board with David Ruderman in that NTN Barons Toyota Tundra. Looking.
Bobby Hamilton trying to get a position on the 75 and David Starr. That's a battle for the 7th position. We heard Bobby tell us that he was just going to be happy to try to save what he had, but he was trying to gain another spot.
I think he was playing a little poker with us.
There's no way you're going to believe that on Bobby.
Nose to tail now. David Starr was.
Remember, the 38 is eligible for the pole. The win from the pole bonus put up by Craftsman. What is it, 18 grand?
18,000. And problems with Ricky Craven. He gets into the turn 1 wall.
Yeah, a lot of damage here. Yeah, a lot of damage to the left front and the left rear. Looks like he may have spun around and caught the wall driver's side. Look how that rear of that truck is pulled around to the right side. See the obviously busted the radiator. You see all the water pouring out down the racetrack. Safety workers right there. Very quickly see Ricky moving around a little bit inside the truck. That's a good sign.
Fluid coming out down on the track. A lot of damage to that 99 Ford.
When he went in really straight into the Memphis sign.
Yeah, that team has made it. I think he has the record for the most pit stops tonight. It looked like he pitted about twice on every caution flag. They continue to try to work on that truck, trying to make it better and better and better.
The helmet has just come off.
We're getting a report that maybe he cut a tire down. Let's see if we can take a look and see if we can determine what happened. You see him on the outside right there. Well, he got a little bit loose getting in the corner. If a tire went down, more than likely it was a rear tire, right, Boris?
Yeah, the left rear looks up, though. It doesn't look like a tire went down. It looked like he just got a little loose and overcorrected, and that's a bad way to hit the wall, driver's side. Looks like he's getting out.
Yeah, great sign to see Ricky get out of that truck. Pretty hard hit, though.
Getting out of the truck under his own power and immediately looking like
You hit the wall that hard, and it's going to knock the wind out of you at the very least. Plus, again, these drivers have been in 140-degree conditions for a couple hours now. So even though they had that red flag, that was not a relief for them because it probably got hotter.
Yeah, I don't like the red flag idea. For me as a driver, I'd just rather run under green. Because when you're concentrating, you're really driving hard. You just don't think about the heat. When you're sitting there with nothing to do, then that's when it really starts to bother you.
Guys, let's take a look at this in real time. We won't slow it down for you. And this, again, coming down the front stretch and getting into turn 1.
Remember, about 130 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway. It looked like his truck got a little bit sideways, and then it looked like, as you mentioned, Boris, he overcorrected and the thing swung around there and made some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. But again, 130 miles an hour at the end of that straightaway, that's a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, there were some sparks, though, just as it got loose, so maybe something did break in the back.
There's a bad bump there, too. So a lot of these trucks, when you drive over that bump, getting down in turn number 1, it upsets the truck. Wendy?
We saw Ricky Craven squat down. I'm sure he is just wore out, and I just wanted to report on some of the drivers that have been brought in already that they're out of the race. Robert Huffman crashed, and he was taken to the infield care center, and he was treated for heat exhaustion. He's in the infield care center right now, still getting an IV. Also, Eric Almarillo is still in the infield care center. He had burns on his feet. Just from the heat, nothing from the wreck, just heat exhaustion from him as well. So all drivers being treated for heat exhaustion down here as they come in.
We touched on it at the beginning of the show, an extremely hot day here in Memphis. And again, this has been a one-day show, meaning that these drivers come in and they have 2 practices in the morning, then they qualify, and then they run the race. Well, they have been out exposed to this temperature all day long. It was upwards of 100 degrees. When we started the race, it was 93 degrees, and that was as the sun was setting. So it has been an extremely warm day in Memphis, Tennessee. We've had our 12th caution of the night. The crowd ready for this one to get done.